Hey, on this episode, my 3-ton unit in October is still not cooling the home, and with the hurricane, is my parts warranty covering the damage? You ask your comfort and energy questions, and they get answered. This is the Ask Derek Cole Show.
What you gonna do for 100? Needs to be special.
I'm going to say episode 100. Hey, this is Derek Cole. Welcome to episode 98 of the Ask Derek Cole Show, answering your home and energy questions. A little tired this morning because I stayed up so late watching the baseball game.
I thought you were gonna say Country Music Awards.
No, I wasn't watching the Country Music Awards. I saw some stuff on it, but I was watching the baseball game. But I went to bed at the 8th inning, so I missed all the fun, apparently. But anyway, that's not why we're here.
I had my 3-ton unit checked this summer because it was behind in the hot weather. They said it was fine, and now it's still behind when it's 75 degrees outside. What's the problem?
Well, there could be a couple of things. One, if you had it checked out, first of all, let's go back to it's doing all it can, and it was fine in the middle of the summer. So if it's 95 degrees outside and you're doing, at best 75 in the house, it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. And once it gets to 100, you're doing 80 in the house, it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. Now, in October, when it's 75 degrees, it should be keeping up with that cooling temperature inside the house. So there is a problem. But it could be one of 3 things. It could be the unit, which was checked out. That could be a problem. It could be the air distribution, which is the duct system. That could be a problem. Or the envelope, which is the home. That could be a problem. Now, you need to have a professional to look at all of them, but especially the unit. But what you can do yourself is to go check that duct system in the attic under the house. I believe when we dug into this, he said the duct system was in the attic, and he thought he was losing some cooling that way. Well, when they do a load analysis on that home, on that system, duct loss in the attic for heat gain, heat coming into the duct system, is calculated. Now that calculation is different than if it was in the crawl space, because obviously you have more of a heat load if it's in the attic versus the crawl space. So that should have been factored in sizing the unit, the equipment, the duct system, so that shouldn't be a problem. So get someone to check your unit. You can yourself look at the duct system, just to randomly look at it, make sure no runs have fallen down, there's no big gaping holes where an animal or something got tore up there, or the pest control guy did something. You can look at all that yourself. And then third, the envelope, the home itself. Make sure you have insulation in all spots, because what we've seen happen too is, like in an attic, we'll take an infrared gun and we'll shoot the temperature, and it'll be 75, 75, 80, 80, 80, 80, 102. You're like, okay, well, I need some insulation over here. That's why it's so hot. So check those 3 things. If it's not the duct system, if it's not the home or the envelope, then it's the unit. So when you look at all 3 of them, that factors into why you're having a problem, especially with a home that's not had this problem previously. Hopefully you lived here for a few summers, or at least one summer before, and not had this problem. So if it's a brand new problem, it's either probably the duct system or the unit. If it's something that's always happened, then I will look at all 3. That was a long answer.
As long as that question.
Does that make sense though? And people want to think that if they're having a cooling problem or a heating problem, it's just the unit, where it could be the duct system, it could be the house, the envelope, it could be all 3 having a problem, or it could be just one of those 3 having a challenge. But one of those 3 being off is going to cause you not to be comfortable.
My unit has water damage from the hurricane. Isn't that covered since I have parts warranty?
That is what the manufacturer calls an act of God or nature. It's not going to be covered under your manufacturer's warranty. Now, I'm not saying it's not going to be covered under a homeowner's policy or some kind of policy like that, but if you have let's say you have a 10-year parts and labor warranty and you're in year 3 or 4 or 5 and you have flooding and a hurricane and you have water damage, because of that, the circuit board went out, this part went out, the motor went out because it was underwater. The parts warranty is not going to cover that because that's an act of God, act of nature. The homeowners may cover it, but just because you have a parts warranty doesn't mean it's going to take care of it. It's kind of like if you bought a brand new car and your car is flooded. Well, Kia with their 10-year warranty is not going to cover that flooded car with engine problems now, okay? That's not Kia's fault. It's not a manufacturing defect. It's not going to be covered under that warranty because, again, it's out of their control. It's out of your control. We can't control the environment, nature, so therefore the warranty for that period is there to cover manufacturer defects or workmanship problems, but a flood and a hurricane is not one of those, so it's not going to cover it. Sorry. All right, but the homeowners might. I mean, depending on your policy and what you got, I mean, it may cover it. If you have flood insurance, obviously, I would look at all of those angles. But anyway, that's episode 98. Yeah, 98 of the Ask Derek Cole show. Be sure to hashtag your questions and we'll get them on the show.